The supercharger head unit is going to be mounted right here, and we've got a problem. This heater hose is in the way. So the kit comes with a relocation hose in this little kit right here. And we have to do a little bit of cutting on this end, down here, and over by the firewall end, right there, in order to move this junction to this area right here. Let's do it now. I'm going to disconnect the hose and set it out on the floor so I can make the connections. Unscrew the petcock and drain the coolant. All right, we've got this laid out just as it would be in the car. I'm going to go ahead and do the first cut 12 inches from the firewall end of the hose, and then I'm going to fit it myself and cut where I see fit. But according to A&A, it should be about 6.75 inches from where the hose connects to the water pump, and on the reservoir end of the hose, it should be about 11 inches. We've got the modified hose reconnected to the firewall. It runs through this factory holder right here, and its new location is right here next to the water pump, and this goes down and connects with the factory spring clamp. And I'm leaving this side right now without cutting it because I want to kind of fine tune how this gets run with the supercharger being here and everything else. So we'll leave that for a little bit. Since the C5 and C6 Corvette are so low slung and there's not a lot of room between the intake manifold and the hood liner and the top of the radiator, we're going to lower the radiator down just a little bit to give us more room for the tubing that goes from the air filter to the supercharger head unit and the tubing that goes from the intercooler to the throttle body. And we're going to do that by putting some spacers in this little aluminum cradle, which is also the thing that hits the curb when you bump up against it. This is what sets the height of the radiator. We're going to lower it a little bit, and we'll do it using this hardware kit and these spacers. The fatter spacers go towards the rear. The thinner spacer goes towards the front. And I already loosened these just a smidge so that it would sag down over here so I can get the spacers in. Okay, I'm on the passenger side. I've got these in place loosely. And I've got the back one in place loosely. The front one's missing for right now because we have to unbolt the horns and relocate them up here by removing this nut that holds the horns to this little skid frame. And we'll drill this hole a little bit bigger, and we're going to put this bracket so it's sandwiched up here between the skid plate and the chassis, because I think we need the room right here for the tubing to get from the blow-off valve, which will be under the fender over here, to the hose that goes to the intercooler. Okay, we've got the horns removed from the bracket. This is the hole we'll be drilling open a little bit. We'll pound this angle so it's flat, and just do that using a chunk of metal. Okay, modifications have been made. Let's take this over to the car and see if we can figure out how it goes. We've got 4 of these spacers that are about the same larger diameter, but if you look closely, one of them is just a little bit shorter than the other 3. This one goes right behind the bracket, and it gets sandwiched to the cylinder head. The other 3 spacers, you need to kind of start the bolts before you bolt the bracket to the head and water pump, and then you can slide the other 3 spacers on as shown. This odd spaced machined aluminum chunk goes right here and receives a bolt into the cylinder head through it. And then on the top of it, we have one more long spacer, but this one is a smaller diameter. It's got the longest bolt, by the way. And this one's going to go right here at the top. Okay, now I've got all of these just kind of loosely started to make sure I can get the spacer back here, this spacer in. All of these spacers are on their bolts. And that thinner spacer is thin because it needs to get right next to the throttle body. Now we can go ahead and cinch down the 4 bolts, 2 into the head and 2 into the water pump, 1 and 2. And I don't want any of this coming loose, so I'll use a little bit of blue Loctite on everything. One thing to be aware of, when you snug down the 2 bolts that originally were for the tensioner, the bracket indexes off of this water pump mounting points. You want to look at this bracket here and make sure it's snug, but not too wide. If this relationship is incorrect, then perhaps at some point there's an aftermarket water pump on here and you're going to have to figure that out. Or if there's a large gap here, do not tighten this down. That means something with the water pump is wrong and you got to figure that out. So this spacer has to be snug, but not too tight or not a gap. Okay, I've got this bracket fully torqued in place. I went to 37 pound-feet on all 4 of the bolts, and I've reattached the adjustment pulley as well. At this point, I've got the spacers all on where they go, so they're just kind of hanging loosely. Now it's time to attach the main supercharger bracket to the supercharger head unit. And for this, we have 4 of these little short spacers with the flats. They're going to go here, 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 and 1 up here. And they get sandwiched between the bracket and the head unit. So I'll go ahead and put those in now. I've got 2 in, and I'm just sliding these in. When you put the little spacer in underneath here, just make sure the flat part of it is against the supercharger. And so I've got 2 more of these to go. Okay, I used a little Loctite, of course, on all 3 of these bolts. I went to 30 pound-feet. This last spacer, it's going to go right here. Before you totally torque them, you want to make sure that's still going to be able to slide in there. And in this case, mine is. It's got just a tiny bit of play there. So now this part is assembled. Now using a 19 millimeter on the tensioner, I rotated this clockwise and inserted the locking pin so that the tensioner pulley is loaded and ready to go. Now we can route the belt on it and try to slide it in place. Okay, next we have to wrap the belt that they give you around the pulleys as shown. I put a piece of tape on here because as you're fishing this down onto the engine trying to install it, that should help it kind of stay in place so you don't have frustrations. This is a good time to put in this last spacer right here. I'm going to have to fight with it a little bit, but absolutely make sure you thread all of these by hand. The last thing you want to do is cross thread any of these. All right, so I've got the head unit temporarily bolted in place. One thing I want to look at here is to make sure, if I can see down there, see if I can get you guys down there. And yes, it looks like we have plenty of clearance down there where we ground away some of the material on the water pump, so that's good. So everything here looks pretty good. Now I got to focus on getting the radiator moved forward in place and starting to remove some material so the air bridge can fit where it needs to go. For fitting the air bridge and doing everything I need to do up top, I like to make sure the radiator is exactly where it needs to be, situated in the core support / skid plate. And so I like to just drill a small little hole, as you can see right there, so that I can zip tie really close here to the condenser where it's strong. Just zip tie that in place so it can't move upwards while I'm manipulating it up here to go ahead and make room for the air filter dongle and the tube that goes to the throttle body from the intercooler. In addition to that, I also like to remove this lower radiator hose so you're not fighting this relatively rigid short hose when you're getting the radiator to be situated in the core support and the right distance from the head unit. Remember from the C5 install as well, this radiator, it kind of wants to be where it's always been, and it needs to go forward quite a bit. To find out just how far, I'm going to temporarily fit this top plate, and that will tell us how far forward it has to go. Okay, I've got the radiator propped forward a little bit with this spacer. Now I know this is where the radiator needs to live because the top shroud cover tells me so. I'm going to remove the top shroud cover, and I'm going to mark how wide the cut needs to be for the dongle, and then we'll trim the top of the radiator to make clearance to drop this down another ½ inch. And now I know exactly where my cuts need to be, just on the inside of the red line there, the inside of the red line there, and it'll be perfect for my car. Keep in mind there might be slight variances between your car and this car and other people's cars. So I kind of like to do it custom to make sure it fits what I've got going on here. Okay, I cut these angles in the aluminum with a good pair of side cutters, make sure they're sharp. Then using a razor blade, I went ahead and scored this inner edge all the way across with a sharp razor. Steel's gonna win over aluminum. Now I'm gonna just be bending this back and forth until it breaks off. Now I'm gonna use a half round file just to smooth out that edge so there are no burrs. Now we'll go ahead and make the same exact cut to this forward edge. And now this is nice and smooth, so it's not going to wear a hole in the bottom of the dongle. And so now we know the dongle part fits just like it should, with plenty of room for things to move a little bit if they should happen to do that.